Yo yo, how's it going, motherfuckers? What's up? Sakarex here, Red Guard leader, world first ultimate dominator. Suppose you could say father of GVG and Guild Wars 2. Coming at you with a video. Well, not really a video, more like me talking to you. So you're asking yourself, what's this video going to be about? Well, pretty much all the secrets. Guild Wars 2, World v World, sPVP, ESports, Guild v Guild. A lot of secrets. So why am I making this video? Well, the community, a lot of uproar at the moment. Obviously people know a certain amount, and they've obviously seen how the games went and progressed. Well, there's a lot of shit they don't know, and hopefully I'm going to shed some light on that now. I probably should have made this video a while ago, but I've just haven't had the time to get round to it. So everything that you're going to hear in this video, I mean, I'm pretty straight down the line. There's no Billy bullshit with me. Everything you hear is pretty much going to be either from the horse's mouth or a version of what happened. And then you can take what you want from it, believe what you want, I don't really care. So, where to start? That's the question. Where to start? So I watched the packs. These massive announcements. These announcements, everyone's waiting in bated breath after we get like how many World v World updates a year? Massive announcements, massive. That Tequaddle, oh my god, he brought tears to my eyes, that guy. That jumping pad, them jumping pads, wow, such excitement. That 10,000 bloody million HP, standing there all day, such amazing. Anyways, and then obviously you had the World v World season announcement, but let me say, isn't that what we've been doing already? And they're just giving us a carrot, which the carrot isn't really going to do anything for us, because they're not really going to be able to give us a carrot which is so powerful that it's going to change the game. So basically it's exactly the same stuff as what they're doing now. They're just putting a spin on it to try and make it sound like they're giving you something what is important, but it's not. Anyways, that's enough of the trolling, because this is going to be a pretty serious video. So yeah, we go back to I'm playing Star Wars The Old Republic, and obviously the game's dying off after the second month. And someone I know from Warhammer, basically from an old guild that we used to fight against, offers me an invite for Guild Wars 2, and obviously we had Guild Wars 2 in our minds to come and play anyways for the next game after Star Wars, maybe taking a break in real life between Star Wars and Guild Wars. So anyways, I get invited to the alpha, end up joining the alpha. So I'm obviously playing the game now for like maybe 4 or 5 months before the game has actually been played. And I mean, I can play the whole game pretty much. I'm obviously helping doing the tests, designing it. One of the very few EU people, I might add, that actually went to these tests, because they were mostly in the fucking US times in the morning. So yeah, I'm doing these, I'm in the alpha now, obviously. The original Red Guard that played in Warhammer, in Rift, Star Wars, a lot of them obviously I got them into the alpha, but we only ended up with like maybe 6 or 7 guys from the alpha plane. So a lot of the story is going to be about what happened in the alpha, and the secrets and things like that, and what went on about everything about the game. So in terms of what happened, obviously we played the alpha, game's good, obviously there's a lot of PvE, and there's not really many World v World tests at all. I mean, there isn't really that many people in the alpha, and there is a lot of sPVP. It was mainly people doing sPVP all the time in the alpha. It's pretty much what I did all the time, playing sPVP. You just did the 8v8 scenarios, then later on down the line there was the tournament test, but that'll come up later with what that involved with Team Paradigm and all them others. So anyways, the main point was I made this massive post. Everything that people go on about now today, and at the start of the game, like the size of the servers, I said the servers should have been, the World v World capacity should have been a lot bigger. They had problems with that. They were trying to knock down the skills, the graphical on the skills, and change the stuff to try and get more people capacity in. But obviously the actual siege system was actually taking up numbers of people that were able to get in to the zone. That actually took up capacity, which a lot of people didn't realise. So they wanted to basically have more siege than bloody people at some points in the game, which was down. They said they were going to try and get to 133, but it ended up being nowhere near that for life. So we were saying there should have been more servers. I made a massive post, anyways. I'll put the post in the description in this video. You can read it for yourself. This post was basically made like 5 months before the game came out, which had basically everything from blooming the 5 target AoE cap, like the skill lag, everything in there that we talked about today. What was told to them that should have been fixed, server transfers, pretty much everything that it was all told to them. However, Anet's the dev concept was that World v World will be casual. They didn't really understand their game from the get-go. They didn't understand the World v World, like the open scale large PvP and what they had. Their whole mantra of looking at World v World, which is still the same today, is that they see there's people that log on and they want to go there and they just want to siege, where they just really didn't get it. I mean, there is, fair enough, there is people that want to do that, but the percentage of people that go there just to fight with their guilds and actually enjoy fighting. I mean, there's even sPVP teams that go there now to just go there to fight with 5 man, because the sPVP, which is another thing we'll get to later. So anyways, this big post I made, and it was pretty much ignored. There was a lot of people in the alpha that agreed, and there was a post as well, like a couple of months before the game was going to go live. Like people were there was a post had been coined on in the alpha, like some of the guys had realised that they were close to launch, and the game was nowhere near ready. So people were saying we shouldn't launch. They shouldn't launch. There's so much work left to do. So this was like a massive post, and 90% of the people were like, nah, didn't launch yet, you need to wait. That was just one of the things what happened. I've got like a massive list here about what's going on. So anyways, the main thing what happened in everything that revolves around the game, you've got like hundreds of people who work at Anet, but there's really only 4 or 5 guys that are the people that actually matter. Well, not really matter, but they're the people that change the balance and they change the actual game. And this is the problem. Everything for World v World runs through sPVP. So we're in the alpha, and I mean, you've got Team Paradigm, you've got bloody Super Squad. I mean, people think because that like Super Squad and or specifically Team Paradigm are releasing all these videos when the first beta come out, and they're releasing all this information. Why do you think they got that? They didn't get that because they were good at the game from when the beta first came out. It was because they were playing the alpha for bloody like half a year before that. Obviously we've got Moldran, who's ex-Red Guards, got Zeph and all them playing, and obviously we're balancing the classes in the alpha, we're discussing classes, and there's a lot of drama all the time. We have these Monday night combats where the devs show up and we talk about it, and let's just say that from minute 1 the fucking devs were ass kissing the sPVP ESport wannabes all the time, especially Team Paradigm and also Super Squad. They were like the golden goose shitting the nuggets, and they were eating it up in it, because they were their little they were their glory boys to get their hopefully to make Guild Wars 2 an ESport. Whereas, well, the World v World people in there, we've seen it straight away. And obviously coming from a background of playing I played heavy 5v5 teams. I mean, I played Dark Age of Camelot for years in 8v8 teams. Warhammer had one of the best 6-man teams for years on Carragate Peace and Co. Obviously Rift, we had one of the best teams on Defiant. With obviously didn't play with Red Goblet, Hand of Bloods. I mean, I was born in small scale, but we obviously took that to the large scale with Red Guard as well. Obviously that's why lots of people from Red Guard didn't even play this game. So anyways, we're doing sPVP all the time. And I mean, it must have been playing about 4 months then, and let's just say it was like it's John Peters, Jonathan Sharp, there was Izzy Cartwright, and then there was like Carl, and then there was Tyler, and there was a few others. There's maybe like 7, but there's really only 4. Like definitely John Peters and Jonathan Sharp are basically the main guys. Nothing really happens unless it goes through them. So what you've got is we're playing. sPVP, I mean, I'm playing, I tried to get like about 50 of the original Red Guard into the alpha, but a lot of people weren't really playing, so we'd maybe have like 4 or 5 sometimes on a night, but the sPVP people playing all the time. So I mean, we're obviously discussing the classes, it's more about balance and stuff by then. It's really all sPVP, there's hardly many World v World tests actually going on in the alpha. Very few World v World tests. You've got Origin Online who were all in there. Obviously people thought they were boss baller in the betas, but it was obviously because they played the alpha for ages. So a lot of it was balance in the alpha. We're talking sPVP. Pretty much there wasn't much World v World. There was a few World v World tests, but a lot of them happened in the US time, and it was very, very small numbers for a turnout to actually test World v World. They should have had way more World v World guilds. But when I got into the alpha, I sent out a lot of invites to actually guilds. Once I got a few of my guys in, we all started sending out invites, got like a fair few amount of Tainted in, Hand of Blood. A lot of people I'd play Warhammer with, Star Wars, whatever, VOTF had quite a lot of guys in by the end. There was a range of guilds, but it still was nothing. It was peanuts compared to the amount of like casual Yanks you had in who just wanted to play the game and look at the game rather than actually preparing the game to be good. Well, that was my personal opinion anyways. So what ended up happening is pretty much all the balance. It was a massive shouting match. Obviously the devs was John Peters. I mean, the devs were pretty sound, Jonathan Sharp, but John Peters was stubborn as hell. He was a bit of a knob. Like, he would just he literally wouldn't budge about anything. He thought he knew everything about. So they wanted to go down this role of Conquest mode. It all ties in. All of this ties in together very nicely. You got Conquest mode because you want to help the casuals. They wanted to keep the casuals playing the sPVP, running around, because if they had a deathmatch or King of the Hill, the randoms would be dying and they wouldn't want to play sPVP. The whole thing boils down to one single concept. What went through their brains, John Peters, Jonathan Sharp, and this is no joke, they wanted the game to be exactly like League of Legends. Their whole mantra was to get as many people playing as possible, make the game as easy as possible to play, and that was what they went off all the time. And I was telling them endless. Me and John Peters had massive arguments, because on this Monday Night Combat they would used to show up and they would used to go through skills, and they would try to make the worst skills like on par with the best skills and try to do balance that way. There was a Monday Night Combat, someone leaked the one on Reddit or something during the alpha, or during the betas when we were having one. So anyways, it was like always blooming Iskamar, whatever the fuck his name was, from Super Squad. He was a knobhead. He would always just shout over people. It was pretty much their way or the highway. It was pretty much they only give a shit about the Conquest mode and the actual sPVP. They didn't really care about how the balance would affect World v World or anything. It was just sPVP, because they were on about the eSports. I mean, Team Paradigm even had their own private bloody server to fight versus the devs. That's how much the devs love Team Paradigm, so you can imagine what comes later down the line in this conversation about what I was going to end up talking about. So obviously it was Team Paradigm. On the Monday Night Combat you'd get Team Paradigm show up, you'd get a couple of Super Squad, you'd get me and a few EU guys, Karast, who was Red Guard, a few others. Generally not very many, we're talking like between 20 and 50 would show up with the devs, and it would be pretty much a shouting match between like people with a brain, and then the sPVP guys would shout you down, and then that was the way it went pretty much. I mean, with us getting shouted at, and then in the end it ended up for reasons, obviously I'll get to that, but that's how it went for a while with the balancing and stuff, and the devs were always on up the ass of the sPVP guys, I mean, constantly. I mean, and the funny thing is, the first tournament test came round, and I mean, that's why I didn't do a single bit of sPVP in this game. This is the story. The first ever tournament test in the alpha, when they first tested the tournament for the first time, I mean, we didn't have that many people playing. We had like me, Mick Hale from Dark Age of Camelot, obviously well-known guy, and we had like Lerius. We just put the 3-man team and you need 5, so we took like 2 casuals from the alpha and we made a team, and we pretty much won the first 2 rounds and we got the final, and obviously we're fighting Team Paradigm and we're pretty much killing them we're killing Team Paradigm, like, not very easy. I mean, the good players, definitely pretty solid players. I mean, especially Shane and Teldo. The rest I didn't really care for. They had better players, to be honest, than their main team that I felt that played in the Alpha, like Salokin, the Elementalist. He was pretty damn good. And but anyways, that's not the point. We're fighting Team Paradigm. And it's exactly what I tell the devs over and over. This is what I had a shouting match about with John Peters, because I tell them basically that it's going to be, I'll be the Pope before it becomes an ESport, and he definitely didn't take that very well. And he was telling me like, oh, if you've been playing people come around to Conquest mode, people come around to it after a month or so, and I'm like, I've been in the Alpha nearly for a month, and it's still shit. I basically tell them that it's crap. Conquest mode is crap. You basically just run around, you avoid the enemy, and I mean, that's not PvP to me. Obviously, there's a lot of acronyms in this game what are kind of screwed up from other games, like 5v5 and 8v8. People call it some GVG in this game, but anyways, that's another point to go on about later. So anyways, we're fighting Team Paradigm in the first ever tournament test, and obviously they've got their main team. They've got Moldran, Zeph and all them in there. Teldo, obviously what was going to be their main team before what came their team, what you talk about them now. So I was fighting them, we're killing them, and then all of a sudden, like, obviously we're not really winning, we're kind of even, and then all of a sudden it turns into exactly the way I said sPVP was going to turn into this game. Like, they were on like double thief, blooming double elementalist guardian combo or something like that. Then they just run around, they're not really fighting, they're just doing the PvE mobs, and we're trying to like fight them, like as you do if you want to actually fight people. That's the main thing that I used to throw at John Peters and them in the Alpha. I used to say, well, this game, the best way to describe the sPVP in this game is you actually play the scenario to win. You don't actually fight the enemy within the scenario to win, which is the biggest problem. You've got bunkers, and I said straight from the get-go, you got bunker specs, you got people running around avoiding the enemy, thieves running to cap the bloody points, ninja killing the lords, and I said it was just a bag of shit, and there was loads of people that did agree with the fact that Conquest was crap, and they just didn't care. All of the balance as well was, everything was around Conquest, so a lot of the balance wasn't about deathmatch, it wasn't about killing the enemy. The balance in the game before they released it, and pretty much still up to now, was all still been about balancing for Conquest mode, which is pretty sad. So then that went on. Obviously they didn't change anything. It got released as Conquest. They said they were going to put in a couple of more different modes, but that never really happened. So anyways, aye. And there was one big thing, obviously we went on about sPVP a bit, and how that was all about, that pretty much the Alpha was all about sPVP and promoting the esports. They thought that World v World was going to be completely casual. That was they thought it was going to be completely casual, and they were building it to be like a sieging thing, and they just really didn't understand. I mean, I am going back on this point a bit, but they just didn't get it. I mean, I was telling them obviously that had made massive community thing. Like, I mean, in Team of Freedom NAD, I brought all the main PvP guilds together to make the best like the fighting server, which it still is today. It was the same for War with Carrier Peaks. We had obviously the best people playing. Whitefall had the best people playing for Rift. And that, I said to them that there's going to be a lot of problems, like servers, stability, capacity, obviously the skill lag and things like that, why culling existed, and then there was arguments about that and stuff, about the culling. There was a lot of arguments about pretty much everything, but everything was pretty much told to them that the problems that we have today and are the problems now. So anyways, the game was released after that, obviously, and then they removed the people. They removed the people from the Alpha. This is the funny part. They removed everyone from the Alpha after the game was released and invited people back. Anyways, they blacklisted me. They actually categorically did not want me back because they didn't like it. They basically didn't like the fact that we stood up to the sPVP elite kiddos. Like, even though they weren't really that good, anyways. like who were shitting golden nuggets. They kind of thought that we were trying to make some sort of big issue, only going after these sPVP guys with the balance and stuff and things like that. But that just wasn't the case. They basically just didn't. If you were in the alpha after that, you were just basically a kiss ass. You had to go along with pretty much everything they said. They were right about everything. If you made any waves at all, you got infractions and you got removed. So that's where that went. So anyways, we're now into the live of the game, and obviously there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously you got culling, you got the culling removal, which was told to them as well at the time, that if the culling was removed, obviously the skill lag. I tell them about Warhammer skill lag, about when you've got everybody in the zone, you've got the AoE cap we went on about, and I said the skill lag was going to come if they removed the culling. But they just didn't care, so they removed the colour, and obviously people took that the wrong way. People started zerging. Obviously you could now see the enemy, so everybody was running with massive numbers. The skill lag basically came from the culling. That's why the culling was needed, and that was back end. This is all server side, and they're saying that the skill lag can never ever be fixed. By the way, that's one thing that's absolutely guaranteed. The skill lag in this game will never ever be fixed, because they're running the so-called best servers, they say, and it's all back end. The only thing that they're trying to do now to improve skill lag is they're trying to cut down on the spell effects and everything to reduce the lag, but that's not really going to help, because it's the same problem you have with all MMO massive games, especially World v World games. You always get that type of lag if there's so many people in one spot. It was the same with War, it was the same with Rift, it was the same with all these other games. That's kind of a problem that they have with MMOs. So then you've got talking about the differences as well in this game. Obviously in all the other games, Dark Age of Camelot, Warhammer, 8v8 and 5v5, they're called group versus group, or small scale, or just 5v5 and 8v8 was the words for them. However, in this game, because they had Guild Wars 1 called GVG, which was 8v8, then they think the same that that's GVG, but in every other game it's not. I mean, guilds are not made of only 5 and 8 guys. Some guilds have like hundreds of members in. Generally guilds from between 20 and 30 guys, and that's what you're looking at. I mean, it's warband size pretty much is what you're looking at from Warhammer, which was 24 guys. That's the size of what most people run, or is probably the best. That's obviously for each of people to decide. So that's where obviously people get GVG and then sPVP kind of mixed up. However, what you've got in this game, obviously how GVG came about, we've obviously fought Sin, who wanted to fight. The thing is, that's one thing what people are going about, well, GVG's not World v World, GVG's not World v World. Fucking GVG is World v World. That's how it came about. You got guilds that want to fight each other. We didn't want to run around capping stuff, which makes absolutely no point, which was told to them before the game came out, with the points. We don't just want to cap points every single day, 24/7. Yeah, there is some servers that want to do that, but even them of getting bored. If you look at Vizuna, even them trying to do some GVGs, wanted to fight a bit. Guilds that stopped wanting to do the points, because it means nothing. It didn't mean anything from the first week, and it doesn't mean anything now, and it don't mean anything with the new World v World season. Because let's get one thing clear: the people that win the World v World, it's coverage. Coverage. There is a bit of determination there, and says if you're talking about Vizuna, just to get people online all the time and act like zombies, just to get the points at all costs. That doesn't mean that you're good. Just because you won the server does not mean you got the best skills. It doesn't mean that you're the best server. It doesn't mean shit, really. People that have fought on tier 8 were better than people that were in tier 1 in some instances. So that's that story. So we move on to a bit more about we're tying into Anet's mantra of sPVP and eSports to World v World, how everything runs through sPVP. So we've just got a few instances here. I mean, if you just look at the Guild Wars 2 streams, or if you look at the sPVP section of the forum, how many people, how many of the devs post on that, it's all like, if there's any posts, they're always talking to the people in the sPVP, whereas World v World section gets absolutely squat. We get some people, I call them puppets, they're like the smoke masters. They basically try and take the shine off the World v World forum by looking as if there's something going on there, but really they're just there to stem the tide. These people are like question and answer guys. That's what I'm saying. They always try to put some guy in, like we had that Labib guy. Habib, was it? Something like that. He was the puppeteer for a while, and then now obviously we've got this Devon Carver guy. Obviously we'll talk about him later. So the balance between sPVP and World v World is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, how many patches did we get? We got the orbs removed. We got Cullen removed, which obviously helped the game, and it also killed the game a little bit. You had some big changes here and there, but nothing really major to World v World. We got a bloody ranking system, which is a waste of time. You get the stupid points. It's basically just like a massive carrot, which doesn't really mean anything. Just for people with small minds that think it actually means something because you're getting 1,000 ranks. Whereas if you 1,000 or 10,000, which is the max rank, it doesn't even mean anything. So anyways, I suppose the only real thing that actually matters in the ranking system is getting the blooming buff, the fortified buff, but I mean you can get that like 100, that's about it. But then, if I look at that, then they are going to start going down the route of it meaning stuff, and then that's going to piss a lot of people off. So new people to the game, if they make, because I mean I've seen that Hugh Norfolk's, was it Hugh Norfolk? He made this video obviously showing you the new map. We'll talk about that as well later, the sPVP map. In that he said obviously they're going to introduce the lines, and I mean when they introduced the line for the guard attack and the defense, that was pretty overpowered, having 100 condition damage and damage, as well as the vitality buff. I mean that's quite powerful. That's something you would want. Whereas if they're going to make that on all the lines, then the people that start the game are going to be at massive disadvantage. That's something I never liked with Dark Age of Camelot, was the realm rank system, because people that were like realm rank 8 to 10 had like ridiculous amount of stuff to people that were like only low realm rank and had a massive advantage. Where that was one of the things that was good about this game. There wasn't any advantage. It was a mirrored class. Everyone had the same system. That's what I really liked about the game. The problem was the peripherals of the game. Like you had awesome maps. The maps were awesome in this game. Very good. The actual combat system was good, even though there was a lot. The coding is not really that good, and the combat system is good. Doesn't need real combat log, though that's a problem. There is some problems, but the general movement, combat system, obviously the Holy Trinity, the removal of it did work. A lot of the original Red Guard didn't like that, and they didn't like the fact that you couldn't queue up like you couldn't just queue sPVP. But that was the problem. The sPVP was shit in this game. That's why people didn't play it. That a lot of the original Red Guard. So the people that played in Red Guard in Guild Wars 2, a lot of them weren't even in Red Guard before they started playing Guild Wars 2. It was only really like 5 or 6. So anyways, you've got we're moving on again. What are we looking at? Obviously we had a few people that played sPVP, though. We had like Shet, obviously Grindhouse. They had like primary teams. I think Cheese, Mortisum at the end of squad. That was pretty damn good. I mean, obviously Team Paradigm and that was still going, and they obviously were pretty bad. And then obviously they started using 2 Guardians. A lot of people started running 2 Guardians because that was the problem that the sPVP guys complained about, was that they changed the meta. Like they didn't just like change a few things with each classes. They changed the whole meta by the class changes when they changed them. And that was quite funny as well, because I know there was a lot of drama about how Team Paradigm knew the Necromancer change was coming. Of course they did. They were still in the alpha. They were still getting their asses kissed by the devs. So I mean, it isn't really fair anyways, the fact that they were winning everything, because they knew. That's why bloody Fantagram or whatever was playing Necro, and Zeph was playing his Thief, because he knew them changes were coming and them classes were going to be kind of useless. But I mean, that kind of crippled the game in a sense anyways, when they removed because the confusion, fair enough, the confusion was quite overpowered, but there was other shit in the game that was massively overpowered, in terms of, obviously I'm speaking from a World v World perspective, as I suppose it applies to sPVP as well. Obviously you had confusion, which was a counteraction to the heavy melee condition meta, whereas now you're left with only the heavy melee and condition meta, because you couldn't punish people by using the confusion, good feedbacks, good null fields, time warp, stacking the confusion, so they come at you, drop all their shit, but you've put your confusion up and they kill themselves. Whereas now it's just retaliation versus retaliation condition meta, and if you haven't got the condition heavy melee meta, and you're not running the same thing now, you're not really doing anything. And I believe that's the same for obviously sPVP, you need to have your core guys. I think they run something like a bloody stupid Spirit Ranger, which was always kind of overpowered, and people didn't really realise. Few people run that back in the alpha, and it was even more powerful. They had to nerf it a couple of times. Obviously, they're running sPVP per Spirit Ranger. Then they're running obviously Necro, which is most overpowered class now at the moment. Which is, I'll tell you the truth, I've seen the next patch notes. Necro is not getting changed. A lot of the next patch notes is not really a change on the meta at all. If anything, the Necro is getting more buffs, not really massive buffs, but it's getting a little bit more powerful. So there you go. That's what it shows about that. So then you have Jesus Christ, I've forgotten what the fuck I was talking about now. So yeah, we're on about the Necro. Yeah, the sPVP team. They're running, obviously all sPVP teams now are running Necro, and they're obviously running a Thief. Then they're running Guardian. Obviously you need them 4 classes now. You need Thief to move about. You need your Guardian for bunkering. You got your Necro, just because you need a Necro now, because obviously that the Elementalist and Mesmer are kind of useless at the moment. And then you've got 5th class, which is generally people are using different classes, but you need the 4 main ones, especially in the top team, and that's the way it's gonna go. And that's quite ironic actually, because I was saying that Helsith is rant of the week or whatever, and I was quite laughing at that, because I mean, there's a lot of the sPVP guys that are a little bit pissed off with that whole mantra of how Anet wanted it from the beginning. Like I told you about this League of Legends model, how they wanted everyone playing, they wanted to get as many people playing as possible, and then the sPVP and eSport community would come from that because they would have so many people playing, and then into that they wanted to make it easy to play. So you've got the people like, obviously Helsith was making the point that a random guy now can pick up a class and he can play. I mean, that's pretty right, but then you have to say that Anet, that's what they wanted anyways. Obviously there's always going to be people that are better players, but generally that's what they wanted. So obviously if that's not what the sPVP people really wanted, I mean, they should have known that straight away anyways, that the Conquest model, and also the Conquest model, people came round to that straight away after it was released, after I told them you need deathmatch, you need King of the Hill. So yeah, that's another point on the sPVP to World v World whole, like how everything ties together through sPVP. You just have to look at the forums, look at the sPVP forum, and you go back a couple of months, you had a few sPVP bloody shitters or whatever from a US team killing like 50 guys in World v World with like 3 guys to make a video, and you've got Anet bigging it up in their bloody their Twitter. Anet's tweeted straight on there because there's sPVP guys doing World v World, but it didn't matter that there was people doing World v World all the time. They just wanted to draw you from World v World to sPVP people because they wanted more people doing sPVP in eSports. Also with the Guild Wars 2 stream now, if you have a look at it, you've got Teldo's stream linked on there. You've got all these so-called sPVP heroes and eSporters or wannabe eSporters linked on there, but you've got no actual real World v World people or anything on there, or anything to do with World v World, because they just don't care about World v World at all. They see that as like a casual, keep people playing, buying the stupid shit on the bloody the thing for tokens on the bloody shop. So sPVP streams. Then you look at the sPVP actual forum. They've got all the sPVP streams in there. The devs are always on there. Whereas you look at the World v World section, when we were in Redguard, Cyril was making the videos, all the original Redguard videos a load of people have seen. They were all getting moved to Linksville, whereas any sPVP stuff about World v World or anything about eSports was getting bigged up like, whoa, eSports, Jonathan Sharp, John Peters, bigging it up, all them. As I say, the rest, there's loads of devs in it. Obviously, they do a good job. Like the graphics designers, they've got hundreds of them. Like the question and answer guys, a lot of puppets. Obviously, PvE guys. That's where they make most of their money, from the PvE and where everything comes from. And then there was this war between World v World and sPVP, like what was bigger, when it was obviously clear what was going to be the biggest, and that sPVP was going to be a flop, and like obviously it would still go on, but they just made so many problems, so they kind of killed one part of their game what was told to them that could have been so much better and helped out, but they decided just to go all out Conquest, ESport, and didn't bother about any other part of their game. That was what really pissed me off, that the game could have been so much better, because like I said, the classes were good. The balance was obviously not amazing, but it was the closest balance game that I'd seen in terms of from World v World perspective. Then you had the movement system, the combat was good. The problem was the maps were good, and then everything else was shit. Like there was no drive to do World v World. I mean, what are you doing it for? You're doing it just to kill, and now that's the problem. What they're saying now, why people are going on about GVG. They're saying it all the time in the chat, in the bloody stream chat for the packs. People are on the forum about GVG all the time. Why is this coming about? Because people are now realising that when they're going to World v Worlds, they didn't want to just do points all the time. However, people are coming around to it now a year later than I already said it. So that's it's quite funny, but obviously now people are sinking in, and it's causing a lot of problems for them. And that's obviously another reason why I'm making this video. A lot of shit going on. So anyways, there's obviously some more stuff coming, which obviously there is some big reveals and some leaks and stuff in this video that'll be coming up. I'm just getting through everything now that needs to be said. So let's have a look. I think I went over most of the stuff. Now we've got a big reveal. This will go up on. I'll put this up in the video when I'll put it up on the thingy. This was leaked. Someone leaked this from the alpha. It was about how this came about. Basically, was some guy in the alpha. It was around. There was a lot of drama on the forum about that the orbs were going to come back, and this had been known for a while in the alpha. Obviously, I got blacklisted, so this was just someone from another guild, from Warhammer or whatever, that was putting this stuff out there. So what happened was that I think it was one of the main devs. I think it was Carl. No, it wasn't Carl. I think it was Hugh Norfolk. Hugh Norfolk made a post confirming that the orbs were coming back. Obviously, you've seen the new PvP map, what was announced. Obviously, it's just basically a copy and paste job. They've put in a few BOs. There's going to be 5 BOs. How it'll work? There will be 5 BOs. They'll all they haven't really decided if it's going to be per map basis or it's going to be all 3 borderlands that you're going to get the buffs. So if you've got buffs in one borderland, you're probably going to have it in all. It's kind of stupid how they're going to do it, how they plan it. So basically how it looks, the map is you've got 5 BOs in each point. You got 2 like near the ruins, 2 near each side of the keeps, 1 kind of in the middle, and the water is still there. I think they've reduced the water a bit, and it's kind of like ruins, so it's kind of like a castle with like drawbridges and like platforms in the middle of the water, and obviously it's meant to be like a big fighting area, like choke points and stuff like that. It's a little bit too late if you ask me. So anyways, these 5 buffs, they're going to give you like 50 stats each, and they're also going to give you like a 5% health increase. So this was what was posted, and people were like, well, what the hell? I mean, people are doing GVG. This is really going to screw GVG, because this was the momentum of GVG that was coming on, and obviously people in the alpha, there's a few Yanks, and obviously the Yanks have now started doing GVG a lot. So there was a lot of Yanks in there that were like, well, what the hell? This is going to screw GVG. Anyways, now is the biggest reveal of them all. As I'll put this up on the screen, which was this was leaked. This was obviously our friend, our new puppet in general in the World v World section. The guy who's basically there to make you not look at sPVP like is getting loads of work done on it, even though sPVP anymore isn't really getting a lot of work done on it. That's the funny thing. But they're still putting all their effort into eSports, which is stupid. They're basically flogging the dead horse. So on the point of this Hugh Norfolk post and the Yanks whining about it on the Alpha forum, he's Devin Carter. Obviously, Devin Carter on the official forum, he's all about, GVG's coming, keeping you on the hook. GVG's coming 10 years down the line, we're working on it. Basically, they're trying to smoke and mirrors you into trying to stay in the game, trying to keep you occupied on, GVG's going to come soon. They're working on it. However, I got a quote which I'll also put up, which will be obviously his actual post, what he made. But let's just let's just go over it. I've got a quick reminder of kind of what he said. Basically, what he said, this was in reply to the people whining about the orbs coming back in the alpha when Hugh Norfolk posted the buffs and stuff, what was going to matter. So when you get 3 of the orb buffs out of the 5, you'll get the buff in the zone, I believe is how it's going to work. So anyways, this was the reply from Devon Carver in reply to some of the people that were annoyed the fact that it was going to hurt GVG. And he said, while I appreciate that there are players who enjoy GVG, it is currently not something we are supporting in this game. Our intent is to make changes that benefit World v World, not GVG. It is conceivable that someday we will be able to support GVG, but it is not currently the case. If a change makes World v World better and harms GVG, we will make it, because our concern now is the health of World v World. Please keep your feedback to how things will affect World v World, not GVG. So there you have it. Devon Carver, like, unmasked, not giving the usual like copy and paste spiel answers on the actual thing. This is the truth behind GVG, that it's probably never ever going to come. Why? There's a few reasons behind that. First of all, this is the most important part of the video. First, they're never going to do GVG through sPVP. Why? Because they can't. Their coding is shit, and the biggest thing about that is why they can't do that is because they don't want to spend any more money. That's one thing that comes down to it. They don't want to spend any more money on servers, and their servers can't handle 20 versus 20 in the sPVP side of things. That's why it's never going to happen through the sPVP side of things. Also, added on to that, they don't want anything taken away from the 5v5 esports. They don't want people playing 20v20 when they want to try and funnel people back to sPVP to do bloody 5v5 to try and keep the flow and stem of people playing the game in that regard. So when he was back to the comment of what Devon Carver made, obviously saying that GVG is pretty much never going to happen. However, there was another guy that asked, like, this was just brought up. People were asking if they could remove the boars from the stupid PvE mobs at the windmill in the GVG spot, and they flat out said no. They just didn't care when it was brought up. So that's more reason to believe that they just didn't give a crap at all about GVG, and they just didn't want it. The whole thing about World v World, they have to spend more money. That's one of the big reasons behind everything that I've been talking about. World v World, they have to spend more money to make new stuff, whereas esports brings them sponsors, brings them cash. So that's the whole mantra behind everything. That's why the studio wanted to release the game early when like 90% of the alpha told them not to release the game. So anyways, we've heard about the GVG, and we've heard about the fact why it's not going to happen and why it won't happen. Why the real reasons, anyways, the ones that they won't tell you. So anyways, going on that note of how they want to cripple World v World to bring people back to sPVP. Well, here you go now. Here was a leak from on the PAX stream. Some motherfucker posted this on the PAX stream. So I've got a link here, and I'll also put the screenshot up in the video, and the link will be in the description. Well, what do you know? It's only a year late, but they're putting in Deathmatch and King of the Hill. Bloody hell! It's only a bit too late, like. So anyways, what you're going to have now, you're going to have King of the Hill. I'm not sure see, I don't really know how this is going to work. I don't know if they're going to put it in the sPVP rotation. It's going to be custom arena. It's going to be custom arena sPVP of Deathmatch and King of the Hill. So there'll be two reasons. Obviously, I'm hoping the World v World guys won't get scuppered in, even though the Deathmatch in King of the Hill is definitely the thing that they should have had in from the game, and that's pretty good. However, they're trying to scupper the people. So what they're doing is they've seen, oh, we can put the orbs back in. We don't have to worry about making a GVG anymore. We don't have to worry about GVG. We can just cripple it outright. Oh, now we release sPVP. Conquest. We don't get rid of Conquest, but we release Deathmatch. Oh, we're going to get a load of World v World people now playing 5v5 and back in the mists. Oh, that's good. So now you can see where I'm coming from, how they're trying to cripple GVG in World v World and send people back there, now that they're going to bring out King of the Hill and Deathmatch. And obviously I tell you the reasons why they can't make GVG 20v20 in the sPVP. Obviously because they don't want to add more servers to place the servers where you would have 20v20, because they'd obviously need to make kind of World v World size new servers to have 20 versus 20 through sPVP, but they just don't want to do that. So anyways, obviously we've got the announcement of the fact that they're going to have King of the Hill and Deathmatch back. That's going to be, obviously that's going to try and get more people from World v World to go there. Hopefully they won't get suckered into that. And also the sPVP people, you know, these wannabe eSporters like Tim Paradigm and the people that are left, them people, I mean they're half decent players, but there's going to be new people that are going to absolutely annihilate them, because they've got their builds and stuff, and they're not really built to be like deathmatch players. They're more concerned about surviving on the point, running from point to point. They're not like obviously they do a bit of fighting, but you're going to probably find that different teams are going to be a lot better than them at the deathmatch and also King of the Hill, because it actually relies on fighting, not just running about. Which takes me back to my point of a lot of the sPVP teams now, they don't even they don't give a shit. They go to World v World to do 5v5s. That's obviously how GVG came about. Obviously we can get into the discussion of 5v5, 10v10, 15v15, but AoE is always going to win in World v World. So if you've got a 5v5 fight, that's good. That just shows that people actually want to fight. So that brings me back to that mantra, my own mantra that I used to throw at them, of you fight the enemy to win. You don't play the scenario to win. So the sPVPs that are going to World v World to fight, they just want to have a 5v5 where you actually kill each other. You didn't just run around and have to cap shit. So obviously now they're bringing the team deathmatch and King of the Hill in. So that's one thing. And then the final point is going to be that, well, sPVP guys, I mean, how they're going to feel about that. The ones that have played Conquest mode for forever, obviously some will be happy. Some of the top teams will be a little bit annoyed, because they'll obviously start the shine will be taken off them a bit, because they'll probably start getting killed by people that actually played World v World and did just actually fight each other. As you can see, I've moved. I'm just going to interject this part of the video in. What I'll be talking about will be in regards to the release of the World v World video today with Hugh Norfolk. Now obviously showing the buff that I went on about prior in front. I'll sometimes repeat myself in this video. Why is the reason for that? I cannot be arsed really editing every single thing I've said and putting it in order. That's just, I'm sorry about that. Everything I have to say though in the video will be obviously worth listening to. But the problem with that is I keep remembering stuff that I have to add, and then when I saw this I just had to make a part of it. So anyways, the old buff is being officially announced. That's pretty much GVG dead. And then the video itself, I had to have a laugh. I mean, they just want us to have fucking Sage 5, Mastery 5, Aracard 5. They want our characters to be extensions of bloody Sage. I mean, did you see he went on about the cannons 40 times? Oh, there's a cannon on every single new point of the BO though. Oh, you can have Sage here. Oh, we've got PvE mobs in there. We had to have our PvE mobs. I mean, it's just Sage. I mean, now people understand about the stuff that I'll have tied in prior to this part of the video, or in the future part of this video, about how everything ties in nicely with the Siege, and that's all they give a crap about. And then in terms of they're just going to push out stuff every 1 or 2 months. The all buffs will be crap, but they'll fix them in a month's time. It's just they're trying to keep people in World v World, trying to feed them back into sPVP. So it was kind of sad. It was kind of sad seeing that. So yeah, we'll move on to the next part. And the new map. The funny thing is, I mean, Hugh Norfolk didn't really want to say. I mean, did you see he cut himself back when he was saying, "Oh, we want 100 people." So it's definitely only 100 people, the cap for World v World. And however, I can tell you that there was a lot of problems back in the alpha. The fact that they were making Siege take, it wasn't a 1-to-1 ratio that Siege would take up one person's worth in the World v World spot. However, the Siege definitely is maybe 3/4, half of a person that it takes up. Now with the new parts in the middle of of the map. I guarantee they've probably even made the cap even smaller now. The cap's probably smaller per zone now because of the new stuff in the middle of the map. So yeah, they did a lot of copy and paste jobs as well. As I noticed a lot of the stuff from in PvE or rest this for other stuff. So I mean, they go on acting like it took them forever to make these World v World changes. All we had to do this testing. Do not take that face value. That is complete bullshit. Like when you read off a quote, when you had the question like, "Oh, you've done. It looks like this next step's going to be great. Thank you for all your work and that and hard work." I mean, what a load of shit. There's only about 10 or 15 guys now actually testing stuff in the World v World. They do not test World v World stuff. That is categorical. That they do not even bother testing World v World stuff anymore. If they'll have maybe a few guys on the inner alpha tested devs themselves, and then that's it. We're ready to go. It really there's no so yeah, that's pretty much about World v World in terms of the video and what I got from that. So we'll move on again. I have to laugh every time I say the World v World thread now. It's it's pretty silly. I see threads like, "Oh, GVG's kill sharing and stuff like this," and "Oh, what do you feel about kill sharing and fight clubs and stuff like this?" Wow, these people are so misguided. Maybe that's just the fact that they never played Dark Age of Camelot or any other sort of World v World like game, and this is the type of model for the first time they're seeing a World v World game that they're going off, and they feel like it should be sieging, which is just so dumbfounded. However, Anet think that they've got the monopoly, which they have got the monopoly at the moment with the World v World type game. Dark Age of Camelot's too old, War's pretty much dead. Hell, I'm even hearing that Warhammer might even shut down soon from a source that it's 90% sure that the Mythic won't even they won't even renew the rights from for Warhammer to keep the IPs open, so that sucks. That's obviously Warhammer, one of the best games I've played. And then, they might have the monopoly now because there's no other games to play. Obviously, there's Wildstar coming up. Wildstar, 20v20 scenarios. I won't play that, but there is a lot of guilds from that are interested in fighting and how they believe World v World should be, rather than just keeping the siege monkeys occupied and people buying stupid items off the gem shop. So yeah, that's that part. Moving on. I've added a paste bin of some old comments from the alpha, talking to some of the devs. I've removed the dev's name. I actually like this dev, and I liked a lot of the devs from ArenaNet, but some of them, like the main guys that I talked about, John Peters and Co, just didn't give a shit. Maybe some of the stuff that we talked about, the commanders, everything that I'm going to go over in my big post that I'll also put in the paste bin. You'll see the posts and how he replies. That stuff is important, and it's hopefully going to be in for release. But this was 1.5 years ago now, so as you can see, they just didn't care. They didn't have the cash to deal with the coding. They didn't have the coding to do it, or just wasn't on their agenda, which is quite important stuff that I go on about. So as you'll see from the logs. So I've also added some old posts about from when I was in the beta, and telling them obviously what ties it back into to the quotes I had earlier on in the video about service capacity and things like that. Anyways, there's one more last thing I wanted to add before interjecting. I mean, I read some of the World v World forums. It's so funny, the World v World threads now. Like the people like why are we being punished for using siege? Like, well, we should be immune to siege damage. We should be able to kill 50 people with our arrow cart. Or what was it, golems? Golems. Golems are ruining World v World. These golem siege rushes. Boo hoo! I can't have a tier 3 keep. I can't sit behind the door with me fucking arrow cart jerking off using one hand. What am I to do? And then the last point, which is one of the things I completely forgot about, is you catching how your ISPs in this game work. Half the people I fucking know playing the game and still playing the game have to use a VPN to play this game. You'd go into World v World, and me personally having to restart my friggin' modem 10, 15 times, restart me game shitloads of times every night to get into the zones before I can actually log in, because it's so random how your ISPs are connected with this. You'd go to certain zones, you'd go to a borderland, it'd be perfectly fine. Then if you swap borderlands, you'd get this random warpy lag where you're stuck to the ground. And now most of the French community had to use the VPN. There was loads of other people as well, and it's still not friggin' fixed after all this time, and no one seems to be bringing this issue up, and it's a pain in the arse. Anyways, I'm moving on to the end part now. Right, final interjection part before the end for sure. This video is getting quite long now. I just, as I say, getting things. Anyways, I got leaked patch notes, so the new patch notes coming up. So I'll put them. I'll either put them in the video with the screens, or I'll put a paste bin of the new patch notes down below for the next upcoming patch. There is a few interesting things in there. Doesn't look like much is going to change in the overall meta. Maybe a few things. A couple of good things in there, like when they removed the healing, the 5 target healing. When they put that in and it just healed random people, it looks like it's now going to be party based and maybe closest allies, so that's a good thing, I suppose. So anyways, I'll drop them in, or I'll put them down below in the comments. So aye, to the end. Yo, I wanted to take the time to go back to a point. There's a couple of things I left out. Also, I spoke to someone who's actually still around in this alpha, should we say, still actually sticking around from heard from the other day. This is after packs, this information. Obviously, I wanted to go back. Obviously, I was talking about Moldran, who was originally in Redguard for Star Wars. Obviously, he was Team Paradigm for the beginning of Guild Wars 2. Obviously, you've seen some of his beta videos and things like that. A couple of his specs, what Mick was actually using versus Team Paradigm in the alpha, which was quite funny. But anyways, Moldran didn't even end up playing the game, along with a few of the other Team Paradigm guys. Why? Moldran didn't play the game because it was way too build warsy. That was another problem. I mean, you could even, at the beginning, you could even, I don't know if you can do it now, you could even change your bloody class. You say this setup of the other team that you're up against, or look, XYZ, we're up against them, let's change our class to this. And you can change, obviously, you can still change all your utility skills, your bloody build, everything, weapon setup. So as I say, it's still the same shit as it is today with the build in terms of build wars. And I just go back to back to Guild Wars 1. I mean, I never played Guild Wars 1 per se, but obviously one of our best members who played in Warhammer Stromney did for age, and he banged on about this all the time, like how it was obviously all arena based and all kill based. I mean, what the hell happened from Guild Wars 1 to Guild Wars 2? And this was what I brought up as well in the alpha to them, obviously, just saying like, well, what the hell happened? Why are you going to Conquest mode? Why are you going to this type of setup now? Whereas obviously it's all that's kind of been brought clear that it's just about getting people into the sPVP. Obviously going down that League of Legends route, trying to get more people playing as much as possible. They just want people doing sPVP, so that people, I mean, if you're doing legit sPVP in Guild Wars 2, you're gonna want to have some of them. The service, the private service that they have in sPVP, obviously people are putting in real cash for that, $50 $100 a month for that type of stuff. And then, I mean, the League of Legends model, obviously the Conquest mode with the 3 BOs. They've got the 3, like they're trying to have it like League of Legends with the 3 lanes, or there's a Guardian, there's a Bunker Guardian going to Waterfall. Oh, he's got a Thief versus him there. Oh look, there's 3 in the middle. There's 3 in the middle. Oh, there's a Thief on mine. He's trying to kill the Mesmer. Like that type of play. They're trying to make like commentary thing. But this takes me back to PAX. Like I mean, PAX. I mean, just even before PAX, if we go back a couple of weeks now, what we're talking, we had Car Crash versus Team Paradigm in the EU, and that got what? 3,000 people, and they're expecting to be ESport. That's obviously not the point. They got 3,000 people, and I mean it was boring as hell to watch. I mean it was the people running about. That was it. People running about. Anyways, the next tournament that comes up, this ESL for the esports in Guild Wars 2, so-called, has 300 viewers on Twitch. Wow, massive 300. So anyways, I come on to watch the 7th versus 2nd GVG fight. Obviously I had some time time to watch the game. And obviously I was saying, oh, you should shoutcast it. So I go, no, what the hell, I'll do it. This is like 15 minutes before the match starts, and Chemsu's got like, what, about 80 people viewing his stream, and then it gets posted on the forum in the WvW sections, and then we've got like 1,200 people watching. This is just off a spur of the moment thing. Like, to get, so yeah, there's definitely you can see the disparity in between the people that are playing and watching sPVP towards the amount of people that there is who's playing World v World for fighting reasons. But that's a different matter. Then obviously you move on to packs, which, wow, even before we got to actual packs, there was a lot of farcical stuff that went on. And I mean, they're trying to just see it from this perspective, they're trying to make it out to be a big sPVP esport game, and they had these dramas like of car crash posting because they lost to Team Paradigm, like whining like, oh, we were only meant to. I mean, I sympathised with them a bit. That to be honest, they did win by the rules by only playing. Obviously, it was 2-1 to car crash, so they won. But obviously, Team Paradigm pulled it back in the 5 match, which it wasn't meant to be 5 match, was it not? Obviously, they were told straight ahead, like, you're going to play 5 type of thing. It wasn't anything that they brought up after. But this is the whole farcical thing of it. So, anyways, it ends up with Team Paradigm end up getting like disqualified. Because obviously there's a lot of rumours about that he didn't live in the country or whatever, he didn't have a visa and other stuff like this, and one of them was underage, I don't know, something like that. Either if it was Anet or if it was the company that was the competition owner, if they were the one that were disqualified, but the same thing. And you've got to, if you look back, obviously Team Paradigm being the golden boys of Anet from the alpha and still in the alpha, man, that must have really pissed. Obviously Team Paradigm will have been pissed because they'd been promoted to, obviously they'd getting the sponsorship of Team Curse by then, so they must have been well cheesed. Obviously they'll have been cheesed off, but you can imagine how that made Anet look, how they've, obviously the golden boys shitting the golden nuggets and Anet eating it up. How that must have hurt them. Did basically demote them and disqualify them from the tournament. So this is more farcical stuff. And then you've got obviously Car Crash come back in it. The stuff that Car Crash didn't even use a different team. And I mean, this is meant to be like a professional tournament. They're trying to make it all professional, like how they wanted it. ESports, which is just a big joke. And then the actual event, it was, I mean, it was pathetic. It was, I mean, obviously you had people who watched the stream for the PvE, that them bloody PAX questions, like, do I take death pen or can I survive falling off a cliff or something? I mean, this was just completely ridiculous. And then the PvE, obviously, to Quadralis to go back, like all that crap. It was, I mean, it was a farcical. And then the actual PvP tournament is what I'm getting onto. Obviously, there was like 4,500 views, 5,000, and I mean, them type of numbers. It's completely laughable when this was a massive tournament. If you take into account, obviously, the numbers that we got just from a random one night of watching, and if you just look at the obviously World v World videos, I mean, we've got over like 1 million hits on Redcar's videos. Obviously, the SPP like Teldo and stuff get a lot from the esports fanboys. But in terms of overall numbers and things, it's just not comparison esports to World v World. So, anyways, in terms of packs, is what I was going on about. So we're taking the tournament, and I mean Grouch seems like a decent guy, seems like a good caster, but he's trying to polish a turd. I mean, he's trying to do this. He's trying to promote this game, which is never going to happen. Never ever going to happen as an esports. And then you've got Jonathan Sharp, who, I mean, he's one of the main key designers. Him and John Peters, nothing goes through. Like I told you earlier on in the video, everything runs through them. World v World, any change, what happens to balance? So he doesn't have a clue, and he's coming out with stupid comments and that, petting to, obviously that's went down well with the SPV community, and the SPV community, even them are now conning on, and they have been for a while. Obviously it started with the Conquest mode, then there was the balance changes, what completely changed their meta. Now, what you've got is, I mean, I think Elsit went on about it like they didn't even have a booth, they were typing to each other because they didn't want to tell each other where they were going, and that it was really poorly run. And this is meant to be like the first big tournament what sets it off. So now We had all that. We had the farcical of packs and the stupid stuff what happened. Now you would think maybe Anet will listen to what I tell them at the beginning of the game. Look at the sPVP bomb. Look at the sPVP teams. There's no one left. Team Paradigm is also quitting. Like all them people probably going to stop playing. Like Hell's team, I'm just taking him for an example. But there's loads of teams. There was hardly any left to begin with a couple of months ago, and the ones that stayed around, boo hoo, blah blah blah, trying to wait for these fixes to happen. So the Anet know this. They see the people leaving, but they're like, no, we're going to do even more for esports. We're going to make it better. We're going to bring them back. They're just so much in denial. Denial. Anyways, so how they're planning to do that? Obviously, we've talked about the new changes to thing, and I can confirm and update you that the Conquest, the new Team Deathmatch, and also the King of the Hill will not be in the rotation. It'll just be a shitty little puff side scenario type situation where you can do it. It won't give any rating or anything like that. The overall game mechanics will stay. The tournaments and obviously everything will stay Conquest mode, so that's a massive fail. We're still on Conquest mode, still eSport, Conquest mode driving into the wall. So now we're looking back at the WvW, the eSports. From what I heard from a friend, they just want people, as I say, buying the gems for the private servers, and they're trying to get. Obviously, we talked about how they're going to destroy GVG and try and funnel people to sPVP. Why is this? Because there is a logical disconnect with some of the devs. There's the logic of them is insane. Basically, I can tell you exactly what they think in their brain about World v World. They think that World v World is casual as hell. They think that people should be on the pug commander. If they're not in the towers, they're not at the BO, they're not in the keep shooting bloody ballistas or using arrow carts or defending or repping doors. If they're out in the open in the World v World zone, they should be on the pug commander. They should be zerging it up, dropping cutters, dropping ballistas. And they feel that anything organised, any guild, any group, they feel that if anything organised in World v World is a joke, they think that all of them people should be playing sPVP, and that's how they look at them. It's just basically it's just a sustenance. They're trying to get people from World v World. They're just trying to funnel them, and also with the PvE people as well. They're trying to just make more and more people funnel over to sPVP, and also from the friend that I found out today that's still in the alpha, they said, this was after I was removed and blacklisted from the alpha, they said 5 months ago in one of the balance discussions, like the Monday Night Combats that they had prior to the release of the game, they categorically said that they were never ever going to balance anything from World v World. They were only ever going to balance for sPVP and PvE. They do not care about World v World at all. What they do care about World v World is they don't have to do much, because they think, oh, there's a lot of people there. Like, we're good. We can just start draining people from sPVP. This is what I'm trying to say to you. So they're only going to give updates like every once in a while. The orb buffs will go in this middle of the thing. They'll be really shit. They'll not work very well. They'll be really overpowered because they don't really do any testing. They haven't even done any testing yet on these orbs in the alpha. They'll just slap them on a test in the alpha, which, as I've told you, the people that are still in the alpha, we're talking for a World v World test now. We're talking as little as 10 guys showing up for the World v World test, and it's exactly the same in the alpha as it was back then. The eSporters just literally shoot you down. Like, if you've got anything to do with balance, if you've got anything to do with anything in terms of like balance of the game, your opinion from a World v World perspective, it's like, no, you're not in the top team, you're not this, you're not that, and you haven't got a clue. And it's just ridiculous. And the Anet guys are still on it. They're still beating the dead horse. Loads of teams leaving their game saying it's shit, like they're not going to play sPVP anymore. They're leaving in droves, and then they just die. They're just not listening. over and over. They just keep going, stemming the tide, feeding people stuff. Obviously, every single post, like I believe what Health has said in his rant of the week, was that he sees the excuses now. I saw them from minute one back when I was in the alpha. About obviously we obviously play two different game modes. Obviously have sPVP in small scale. I'm all about that, but the sPVP in small scale in this game isn't small scale. It's, as I've already pointed out earlier in the video, it's a load of shit. So obviously world v world was what was left, and that was all that was going to be left. But then that came down to it. So it's just a massive shame, really is. So as I said, the devs just constantly slapping their heads against a brick wall. The eSport teams are telling them they're leaving the game, these so-called people, and they're still like, no. So they basically crippled the rest of their game to design this eSport and to get eSport, League of Legends model. However, there's no one even bothering to go along that. Even the main teams are now telling you that's not, it's not going to happen. So they could easily switch their focus over to making like Guild v Guild within World v World, or which has got a load of people still left in World v World still playing, because I mean that was the highest capacity of their game. They'll tell you a load of numbers about bloody like 223 million Dolyacs killed and stuff like that. But them stats just mean shit, because I mean some of them stuff where they were saying like a small country, people online, what that probably happened in like the first few days of the game, whereas you got no one out like that. I mean you're talking on an average night, you probably have like what, a couple of thousand people playing World v World, and you've probably got about 100 guys doing sPVP. Not even that, probably between 50 and 150 in the sPVP zones. So I mean, what does that tell you? And most of them sPVP guys now do blooming World v World most of the time. So yeah, you're definitely going about the right way, Anet. So yeah. Well, look, anyways, I made this video just to inform some people, just to get it known. I just wanted to say hi. Wish you good luck. I'm going to be, obviously my Guild v Guild video will be out soon, hopefully, within this week. I will be making a third video, which will be a little gift it'll be a little gift to Anet for something that I haven't fixed for over a year, which will be how to bypass the World v World queue, so get on it. Love you a long time. Catch you later. Love you.